Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a very exciting and triumphant post-Raw. This is number 137. I am Mike Tedesco. I don't know why I have this overlay up like this. I like it like that better.
Me too.
But you know what? Like maybe nobody wants to see my face that close. Maybe it's better this way, but I like it like this. Okay. I'm Mike Tedesco.
I'm Victoria Tedesco.
Oh man, I have waited so long to get on this show and actually say that I truly enjoyed Monday Night Raw. I'm going to switch these cameras around too real quick. I really enjoyed Monday Night Raw tonight from top to bottom. 3 hours. It was wrong. It was long, but it didn't feel like a chore to watch tonight. Like everything hit. I couldn't believe what I was watching. I get it. Tonight's a night of blow-offs. There's a lot of hot shotting going on. WWE drafts this Friday. They want to get some excitement. But damn, if it didn't feel like this show had some focus, some feeling that this is important, it didn't feel like some insane, senile old man came into the arena and tore up the entire script and it's just like a hodgepodge of garbage. This is what I want to see every week. This is the momentum that I've been waiting for. Last week was I thought was a I forget what last week was, but 2 weeks ago it was really good with Big E. 2 weeks ago was really good with Big E. I've been just waiting. I've been dying for WWE just to show some kind of pulse, some type of, just we have dignity. We're getting our teeth kicked in, and from an entertainment standpoint by the other company. Well, let's show them what we can do.
Right.
I've been waiting for this. I don't want to come on this show every week and destroy them. Yes, it's part of the gimmick now. People enjoy the rants, but honestly, I would love to come on the show and say, for the most part, I enjoyed everything on this show except for this, and I could rant about that.
Yes.
But I'm ranting about the whole entire show every week. I think I can speak for everybody in the chat room. Anybody who watches this genre wants is for WWE to just be good, to just try. And for the longest time, I swear to God, I'm not kidding, it felt like they just weren't trying. It felt like they were just taking a bunch of marks and merchandising to them and trying to just take their money. And even last night, I complained about the main event and I gave the show a thumbs down. But, everybody worked hard on that show.
Right.
They just got betrayed by bad booking. And I don't think the bad booking is going anywhere. But for the longest time, it just felt like these, everything's just awful. And the booking is just going nowhere, and it still might be. But for one night, it felt like things were running smooth, that this was an exciting company again. I want that momentum to continue every week. I hope the WWE Draft brings good things for Raw. And, this is all we want. We just want WWE to try. Not everything's going to be a home run. Not every segment's going to be great. There are still going to be things to complain about. But damn it, I just want to see some fresh talent. I want to see some good matches, and I want some stuff that just doesn't hit me over the head with absurdity.
There's really, honestly,
finally,
yes, absolutely.
This is the treatment we want.
I love. First of all, I love the Mike rant on a good. This is a positive Mike rant right here.
I'm sweating from the good.
From the good. This right here. It's amazing what can go a long way. If you just put this little bit of effort into it, just the slightest bit of more effort than they have been putting in, and I don't even want to say months, but like really years at the end of the day, it just goes a long way with people. It's so much better to have a bunch of happy people together than miserable people together.
Mm-hmm.
And it really baffles me when we talked about, and we've been talking about, when Vince McMahon really just doesn't want to see anybody happy. He doesn't care about the fans and what they have to say and what they think about. But this shows like you can please the crowd. You can please your audience. nothing's ever going to be perfect. There's going to be always maybe something that you don't enjoy or that you can, complain about. But overall, you should feel good coming out of the show. You should be excited when you're watching it and forgetting too at times that you're watching a 3-hour show. I mean, within the first hour, you were laughing at the show.
There were things I actually laughed at on this show. Like I enjoyed it top to bottom. Really, like there really weren't any like segments that I was like, oh god, that was a
right
pig.
Right.
That was terrible.
Right.
It was awful.
Right.
Everything worked, and it was ordered properly. It just didn't feel random. It just felt like this was a good day for WWE.
It was a good day, and I feel like I don't know what the incentive was. I don't know where the motivation came from. Maybe it was AEW.
I like to think that they tuned into
I
like to think that they tuned into the end of our podcast last night where God, I'm tired of everybody blaming the fans. It's not our fault.
Really?
It's not the fans' fault.
Yeah, it's
and look,
not.
I said if you just try and give a little effort, that's
just
that's all people are asking.
Just the tiniest bit of effort.
People, I loved the show last night, and then it was just like, oh well, that was a terrible finish. And yeah, there were terrible finishes on this show tonight too, but
of course there were
nothing like insanely insulting. But like the rope break and the whole thing with last night was just bad. But God, it just I feel good tonight.
We had everyone talking about our treatment, the treatment.
Yes.
This is like they had the best doctor in the world. They had the best doctor in the world. Finally, yes, Quentin. Yes, the good treatment. This is all good. This is good stuff. I don't want to have to. Yes. Again, a good mic rant. Always looking forward to a good mic rant. But I'd rather be happy. I really do. I'd rather be happy just watching this show. Because it really is. It just makes it so much more enjoyable for everybody when you're sitting here and you're talking about the good things of the show instead of all the crap.
Right. And to show just how jaded people have become, especially me watching this show. Right. I mean, I enjoyed this. And I even tweeted a prayer in hour 2 that it doesn't end. And right to the bitter end of the show, I was like, they're going to do something and just totally screw this up. Just like Extreme Rules last night. Extreme Rules was great, and then they screwed it up.
True.
I thought for sure that they were going to beat Big E for the title. Bobby Lashley, new WWE champion, was going to go to Saudi Arabia and get beat by Bill Goldberg for the WWE title. And then at Survivor Series, Bill Goldberg, the WWE champion, would face WWE Universal Champion Roman Reigns in the match that we never got at WrestleMania 36. I had this like fever dream, and I was like, it's going to happen. And like throughout the match, but that, for whatever reason, that made the cage match that much more exciting for me to watch because I was really into every near fall. I actually, it's so hard for me to get immersed in a show. Like I loved watching the Grand Slam on Wednesday. And I was initially supposed to recap that, by the way, because Josh had tickets to a concert and he said, I'm having trouble dumping these tickets and, I might need you to cover Grand Slam. And he was like really bummed about it. And then he said, you know what? Like wrestling like this hot doesn't come around all the time.
Right.
And he ate the money on those concert tickets so that he could recap Grand Slam. And I'm so glad he did because I watched Grand Slam and it was like the first time in a long time, I've just sat and watched a wrestling show and just got totally immersed in it. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And, it's even harder when you're recapping and having to analyze and stuff like that. And I was immersed in the show. I really enjoyed it, and I was immersed in that main event, partly because I had built up this fever dream in my brain about Goldberg and Roman Reigns. But it was really good. Everything was great on this show. I gotta tell you. Yeah, and Daniel Schell also talking about AEW All Out. Like that's another one I was dragged into. Like just totally just over the moon about it. I just loved watching it. It was fun, and I even had my friend John Serpico here that night. And we watched it just like it was the old days when we used to, in high school, we used to go, back and forth, who's getting the pay-per-view this month, and we're going to watch it. We watched it together with some friends, and felt like old times. It felt like wrestling was cool again.
That's why I enjoyed tonight in particular, because it did feel like old times where I found myself, because I don't take Raw too seriously, in the sense of, obviously I watch it, but if there are things that, if I know if it's going in that direction of where it's just going to be, bad the entire night, then I'm not like, I tune in and out. You know what I mean? I'll do other things. I'll kind of distract myself, not fully engage my time into watching it. But tonight felt like old times where I'm sitting there, I'm wanting to watch it. I want to see what's going to happen. And I'm actually excited about it.
Yeah.
And that feeling, you don't get that feeling too often. And when you get that back, because, for a long time, I really did feel like it was just hopeless. I'm like, I'm really never going to get excited about this ever again.
I know. It definitely felt, what are you doing? You're the solo layout right now. You're making weird faces.
Sorry, our daughter's up right
now. Oh, for God's sake.
Just trying to.
She'll go back down. But yeah, no, it's been a while since it has felt like there's like this show is must watch and important. For now for the last 2 years, since 2019, SmackDown has been the A show and Raw at 3 hours. What a bore, a BOAR of a show.
Yes,
and they made it a bore BORE to watch. Because they were putting all their energy and efforts into it, and I mean, they still are. That's not changing, but it's like Raw was like this forgotten show.
Yes.
Yet if you compare, yes, they're on cable and Fox is on network TV, but in terms of how many houses Fox is in,
yes,
Raw was still being watched by more people. Percentage wise.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And they weren't giving us anything. It was just like horrible storylines, people getting their eyes plucked out, with Seth Rollins and Rey Mysterio, and Bobby Lashley and Lana, and that whole entire disaster, and Mike Kanellis being a cuck, and all these like weird things that they were trying. It was like they were just doing like weird stuff on Raw just to get like anything going, and it just never worked. Now it's like we're back to basics. Tonight, in the last few weeks, we're back to basics. So it just feels good. Well, Victoria's going to be taken off, so you're going to be stuck with me for a little bit now. The baby is actually up. This has not happened on a show in quite some time where Liliana gets up. So let's just talk about this show. Okay. I would actually love to run this like it's a Wrestleview Live and say, what was my favorite part of the show and what was my least favorite part of the show. But I honestly don't really have many things that I didn't like on this show. So I got to start with everything. And let's start with the WWE title picture, the WWE title matches. Last night I said, if they do anything other than open up with a match, if there's a microphone in somebody's hand after they promised us last night that it was that the WWE Championship match with Big E and Bobby Lashley was going to kick off the show, if there was a promo to kind of buy time, I was going to come on here and rant. And I was dead set on that when I turned this show on at 8:00. And when Big E's music hit, I was looking for a microphone in his hand. I was looking for a microphone in his tights, because sometimes they put the microphone in the back of their tights, when they're going to the ring. And I was like, I'm waiting. And it didn't happen. And then Bobby Lashley comes out, and I'm like, okay, is Big E going to grab a microphone from the timekeeper? No. They actually started with a match. And again, that just shows how jaded, I am as a wrestling fan, that how badly this company has betrayed my trust, that that whatever they say, I'm expecting the other shoe to drop and for it to be a big, giant lie. And luckily, thank God, it wasn't a lie. They started off with a match. And I got to tell you, this was a good match. Hard hitting. I love. Oh my God! At the beginning of the match, I got to show you this. You got to see it, because it was just. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Go away, Victoria. We don't want you there. Oh, that's what I want. Yeah, there we go. Okay, Victoria's empty camera, not that. Hello. Anyway, so there was a slap, and the WWE Universe Twitter put out big meaty men slapping meat. That's what I want. This just, oh my God. I mean, that knocked Lashley. He really, was knocked pretty silly on that one. He was adjusting his jaw multiple times, following that nasty shot. That was pretty sweet. Victoria is not there. Come on now. Let's go StreamYard. Jesus. Great hard-hitting stuff. They even did and they even did picture-in-picture, which they never do on Raw. They did a picture-in-picture commercial break for this match, and I gotta tell you, just like doing something like that, just changing the presentation of the show, even just a little bit, makes it feel fresh. Because essentially this show has been unchanged since they went HD in 2008, since they converted to HD, or it might have been 2007 they converted to HD, but I'd like to think it was 2008. Well, someone will correct me. But it feels like the whole presentation of the show hasn't changed. It's like segment, backstage interview person, match, another backstage or inset promo. It's like there's really no variety here. So just doing a little picture-in-picture just to change it up a little bit, that was nice. And it made the match feel important. Yes, as Quentin Walter says, please like this video, share, subscribe to the channel, do it all. We want your likes. And I got to tell you, channel's been doing great. Last night for the Extreme Rules review, we ranked very high. If you typed in Extreme Rules review, we ranked very high on the searches on YouTube, and we had about one of our better nights of viewership. So thank you to everybody who tunes in, whenever you tune in. So it's been awesome. So yes, please like and share and subscribe to this channel right now. That'd be great if you could do that. Anyway, so just changing up the presentation of the show just feels nice and fresh. The best part about this match, even though it ended in no contest, it was still a victory, and it made sense, and it built to something better. But the best part of this entire thing, the very best part of this entire thing, I'm going to show you right now, was this. The Hurt Business. Finally. Why did they ever break these people up? Why is Victoria's thing still there? Oh my God. Like this is ridiculous. I cannot believe that this Victoria will not go away. Okay, I have an idea. We're just going to remove her. There we go. What the heck with the damn Victoria here? She's upstairs, not here. Oh, you can't really see the video of that one. That's a little better. Well, this is even better. Okay, the Hurt Business. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander joined Bobby Lashley again. Again, there's literally no explanation for why. So they have to address that at some point. But the stable that was red hot and one of the better things of Raw at the beginning of this year when we were in Thunderdome hell, and they broke it up for absolutely no good reason. And these two were just floating on this roster, doing absolutely zero for months, doing jobs on main event. It's back together. Now, MVP is out with knee surgery right now. If I'm a betting man, and he's really a non-wrestler at this point, and he was walking around with the cane anyway, I think as soon as he's clear to compete again, or at least cleared to walk for a sustained period of time, or fly, or whatever it is, I think we're going to see MVP back. And I think I think it could happen as early as next week. It very well could, or at least have him out there in a wheelchair. I mean, for God's sake, when Miz got injured, all we saw was Miz in the wheelchair with the drip sticks and stuff like that. And there's no more Miz anyway. Victoria has to tell you about Miz's Dancing with the Stars performance tonight, I'm sure, when she comes back. And John Morrison dropped off the face of the planet, didn't he? So did Elias. People that just go bye-bye. Yeah, put MVP in a wheelchair. I think Randy Torcolo is right here. Put him in the wheelchair, get him out there with the Hurt Business, and let's get this thing going again. Because that was the best thing on Raw earlier this year, and they broke it up for no reason. But They have rectified the situation. All is right with the world. The Hurt Business is back. The New Day comes down and brawls with them. They brawl into the ring. Lashley had Big E dead to rights, and then they brawl over them. So the referee just calls the match off, no contest. And I got to tell you, Adam Pearce came out and cut like the most incredible authority figure promo I've heard in quite some time. This guy was jazzed up to be doing this promo. He's like, it ain't gonna end like this in Cincinnati. And he got the cheap pop, and he goes, we're gonna settle this once and for all, determine who's the best, who did it, who's gonna be the man, and we're gonna do it. The WWE Championship is gonna be on the line. Big E versus Bobby Lashley in a steel cage, and the place just exploded. The people were so psyched, and oh man, I was fired up after that opening segment. I really, really was. And when we came back from the break, my brand new favorite tag team on Raw, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo, who I never ever would have thought that they could turn Humberto Carrillo around. But look what happens when you just do simple stuff. You got two guys on the roster. They're related. We're doing nothing with them. They're really talented. Let's make them a tag team. This is simple stuff. That's how wrestling is predicated on family relations. Hello? Am I going crazy here? So huge win putting Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo together. Turn both of them around big time. I mean, it's only been 1 week, and again, it takes 3 weeks for Vince to decide whether he's going to go with you or not. But I loved their tag match last week. And Angel Garza was just in a singles match against Eric tonight, but he looked great. It wasn't like Eric just dominated him the whole time and then he got like a stupid win. Eric did play a little bit of stupid face, where he gets distracted by Humberto Carrillo. I mean, that's the trademark WWE stupid face, move, to just stare at somebody who's just standing around doing nothing. But he looked pretty dominant throughout the whole thing. I mean, Angel Garza took the beginning of that match, and then he beats him with the wing clippers, his finish, pretty quickly. And really, I just loved seeing them pose on the barricade. I loved Corey Graves' line to Byron Saxton, because these guys are good looking guys, and they're talking about Corey Graves keeps talking about how they're going to steal your girlfriend and stuff like that. And Corey Graves goes to Byron Saxton, Byron, your girlfriend's safe. They're really not into 4-legged women. And I was like, I like that. That was a good line. It reminded me a little bit of a little Jerry Lawler there, or Bobby Heenan, all the great color commentators. So Corey Graves with a rare win there. The third segment on the show was Reggie versus Ricochet. And I thought for sure last night, Ricochet liked an anti-WWE creative tweet. And if you ask me off the top of my head what the actual verbiage of the tweet was, I cannot remember. But it was something like, who knew? Oh, I think I know. It was like, who knew top ropes could break under the weight of awful creative? And he liked that. And he didn't unlike it or hide it. He kept it. So I was like, oh boy. Well, good to know that Ricochet has some dignity. I see that he has a pulse. I thought for sure that he was going to fall victim to Reggie or something like that. And he did. He did lose the match. There's no question about it. He did lose that match, but it wasn't like he got embarrassed by Reggie or anything like that. He lost by disqualification when the 24/7 dorks jumped the barricade, and that, Reggie got to run off, leaving Akira Tozawa in the ring. So, fun little promo. Thank God. We got Victoria back, everybody. She is back. Here she is. I have to switch the cameras again. Come on, StreamYard. Why can't they just get my configuration? Why?
Yeah, I don't know why it's like that, but whatever. I still like it anyway.
Yes, indeed. I was having trouble, and it kept showing your empty couch.
Did it really?
for whatever reason. It was
That's
just
so funny.
I was trying to show the website, and your empty couch.
It just wouldn't stop.
It just wouldn't stop, and then it then it continued on and
Did you pretend to talk to me?
and went longer.
Did everybody like?
No, I did not. I'm trying because I'm so excited about the show. I want to talk about it.
So you didn't miss me then?
I did miss you. Yes, indeed.
Okay.
So anyway, we come back from the break. Akira Tozawa is sitting in the ring, and he says, I want to face R-Truth. I want a match with Drew Gulak. Actually, you know what? I don't care who it is. And Keith Lee's music hits. And it's not Keith Lee. It's Bearcat Keith Lee.
Who?
Wild man. He's a wild man. He's a wild man. And so it's Big E. I'll use your gimmick. Got the treatment.
The treatment. Why are you throwing things at me?
Because that's your gimmick, not mine. But it was closer to me. He got the treatment and has now been repackaged as Bearcat. It's incredible. Like you think like Keith Lee's debuted on the main roster over a year ago. He debuted at the end of August of 2020. And in his first week, he beat Randy Orton clean on a pay-per-view. And then they dropped the ball with him completely. Then he had like a big match against Drew McIntyre before Royal Rumble. Yes. Actually, it was on that Legends Night Raw or something like that.
Okay.
And then they just didn't do anything with him again. Then he seemed geared up to win the United States title. And then he got sick with COVID. And it's just unbelievable how he came in with such momentum and like in 1 week. And then they completely dropped the ball on this guy. And then he comes back after this long hiatus, from battling COVID and severe side effects of having that terrible disease. And his first night, he loses to Bobby Lashley, which I guess, losing to the WWE champion at the time, not a big deal. I guess you could say it's like, well, at least they brought him back and put him in something important. But it's all in the follow-up. Remember? Let it play out. Let it play out. It's all in the follow-up.
Oh.
And what was the follow-up? He loses to Karrion Kross the very next week by submission.
Yeah, that was.
And then he's not seen again.
Right.
It's like, how is Vince McMahon missing so badly on this guy that is just going to draw him money?
Well, that's what is very confusing about it, because the way Vince McMahon is, he likes bigger guys. He likes
big, meaty men,
and Keith Lee fits that mold.
Yes.
Yet they're giving him the treatment. So who the hell knows?
But he looked good in this match tonight. Yes, I think they're turning him heel. I mean, this guy has such great charisma. I mean, Vince hates him because he looks like a fat guy, so they put him in gym shorts and double singlet. Well, no, I guess it's not a singlet; that's a doublet. But they give it's like pink stripes on it. It's definitely an interesting look. But he dominated Akira Tozawa, so I mean, I guess that's something, right? It's like. Yeah, he did something, and then he just walked it back. I mean, that's a pretty solid spot right there.
No, that was.
So he didn't look embarrassing, but it's just like how did you miss on Keith Lee? How out of touch do you need to be like, oh, something with this guy? I even put my tweet that tonight I said like, oh, gee. I hope he learned how to work while he was away.
I did read that.
And for anybody who's like, oh, what the hell are you talking about, Mike? Keith Lee's like one of the greatest workers. It's sarcasm. It's sarcasm. Remember, they sent him to the performance center because he can't work.
Yeah,
he needs to learn how to work.
That was
Matt. How insulting.
That was beyond insulting.
And how out of touch do you have to be like, oh, Keith Lee needs to learn how to work?
And that's Vince McMahon. He's completely out of touch. So.
Yeah,
you just answer your own question.
I know. I do that a lot. Anything that I covered before that you want to talk about? The Hurt Business came back.
I was so excited, and the reason why I was excited because that should have never happened in the first place, where they broke up. Honestly, and a lot of people said that, and I feel.
Wait, what are you downing my opinion here?
No, I'm not downing your opinion.
I'm not a follower.
Shut up. Okay, relax. Slow your roll here. But yeah, no, that was a stupid move to begin with. And this idea of, again, when something is good, they have this itch and this urge to just like, nope, they have to break up. They have to be whatever. This should never happen in the first place. So this is really smart, really cool. And people are liking it. And this is good for them. This is good for them. This is good for business to have them back together. Yes, to have them back together.
They were the best thing.
It worked.
When we were in Thunderdome Hell, that was the best thing going.
It really, really worked. I am excited to see how it plays out.
Randy's right here. And everybody with eyes could see breaking up the Hurt Business was a mistake.
It was.
Daniel Shell saying, if anyone needs to go to AEW, it's Keith Lee. We'll see. He has 3 weeks. Everybody gets 3 weeks before Vince decides whether or not they're ever going to get over. Before they get
the treatment.
Hashtag the treatment.
The treatment.
So, and somebody does get the treatment tonight. Somebody who had a push that went for 3 weeks got the treatment tonight, and I was not upset about it. Anyway, before we get to that, at the 9 o'clock hour, we get the WWE United States Championship. Damian Priest defends against Sheamus, the guy he pinned last night. I mean, they just keep getting match after match. But they had a match where it's no disqualifications or countouts. It must end by pinfall or submission. So that means that this feud is now being blown off. And I would say Damian Priest is definitely going over to SmackDown. And if I had to guess, they're probably going to switch the Intercontinental title from Nakamura to somebody else, or they're bringing Nakamura and the Rick Boogs act to Raw, which would devastate Pat McAfee, I'm sure. But I think there's going to be some changes with the mid-card titles. Anyway, this match was excellent. I mean, really, really excellent. Hard hitting. I love me some Sheamus. I always say how much I love Sheamus. And, I saw a great tweet from, let me make sure I can find this real quick, because it was a really, really solid
analysis of it.
Yes.
While you do that,
Alfred Kanua said it, who writes for Forbes, and he said, in a couple of years, when Sheamus is no longer working, we're going to be going back and looking at a match like this and saying, God, how good was Sheamus? And it's time to start giving him his flowers now. Well, I've been giving Sheamus flowers on this very show for years now. He's excellent. He's incredible. And Damian Priest has done nothing but benefit from how good Sheamus is.
Yes.
Sheamus took Damian Priest from a guy who was just like, the background character in the Bad Bunny Miz thing.
Yes.
And who was really going nowhere for the first half of this year, even after teaming with Bad Bunny that was supposed to give him a rub.
Right. That was
Sheamus. And Sheamus took him and elevated him to look like a legit competitor and a legit star. So when Damian Priest eventually gets drafted over to SmackDown, I'll be stunned if he's not drafted over to SmackDown. When he gets drafted over to SmackDown and is succeeding, he can go back and thank Sheamus.
Yeah.
Because Sheamus worked his ass off to put this guy over. And tonight was no different. And I mean, it's not like Damian Priest is a slouch. No. Like he definitely took this was a rough one over here. White noise. Look at how he landed on his shoulder. I thought for sure that his rotator cuff was blown out on that move, but like Damian Priest's name, which will live in infamy, his rotator cuff will also live in infamy. So it's incredible. Incredible.
It is. They have a good chemistry together, and Sheamus does have that ability to bring that out in people. And I think, he's one of those guys where you just want to work harder and you really want to, almost like impress him, I would say. You get inspired and you want to do well with him. He's motivating, and he's a genuinely nice guy.
Oh God, when I met Sheamus, he was the nicest guy in the world.
Like, just so nice.
And I met him just like randomly at at a hotel in Philadelphia, and he had a conversation with me. He was extremely, polite. It was just like he didn't have to talk to me. I was just a guy coming up to him in the lobby. I was like, "Hey, Sheamus,
right?
Good show tonight." It was at the Royal Rumble 2018.
Exactly. Yeah, and I feel like he's not egotistical, because he knows it's only benefiting other individuals if he puts on a good performance with those individuals, because you're still talking about him.
Right.
Even though, yes, Damian Priest gets a good showing, but at the end of the day, Sheamus's hard work and efforts and all that he puts into the ring allows that other person to have those successes as well.
Right.
So that's where I appreciate Sheamus.
Yeah.
And
every match, he goes into, I mean, he has spinal stenosis and he's still taking tough bumps. He was taking tough bumps in matches with Humberto Carrillo and Ricochet.
I'm sorry. And I know I keep repeating myself. When I broke my nose, I literally felt all discombobulated. And I'm telling you, my equilibrium was off.
Again for the second time this year last week.
But that's what I'm saying. That my equilibrium was so off that I could barely walk when I broke my nose, because you feel like you can't even. It's tough. But him breaking it twice, literally one after each other,
to work,
amazing,
crazy.
And working
insane.
And working well, not just working.
Right. It wasn't like he was like doing some phoned-in performances.
No.
Like he's been crushing it every single time.
He's incredible.
But he did a lot to put Damian Priest over.
And Damian Priest has been doing
Damian
well.
Priest is getting fed to Roman Reigns, it's like his any success that it took to get him to that point where he could be fed to Roman Reigns is all because of Sheamus. Don't forget, Damian Priest is pretty much undefeated.
This is true.
Except for that night after Raw. I mean, the night after WrestleMania, which made no sense. But he's never lost a singles match, so he's got to be fed to Roman Reigns at some point. Everybody does get fed to Roman Reigns at this point.
Oh, hey, Tim.
Tim Mariconda, chat room tonight. All right, on Facebook. Thanks for joining us, Timmy. So anyway, this match had kendo stick shots. They were just beating the hell out of each other with it. They had chairs, they had tables, and this match was more extreme than anything I saw in Extreme Rules last night. It was like so weird that Raw actually had more extreme matches than Extreme Rules.
I think they got
Extreme
confused.
Rules only had one extreme match.
Maybe Vince.
It wasn't even that extreme.
Maybe Vince got confused.
It was extremely bad finish.
I think Vince got confused.
They do need to get him his oatmeal and get him in his bathtub.
I think what happened was, last night he goes, "It's Raw," and they're like, "Yeah, it's Raw."
Yeah. Tonight's Raw. Yeah.
And then tonight he's like, "Yeah, it's Extreme Rules.
Damn it!"
And then they were like, "Yeah."
Okay. All right. Get him his medicine now. Okay, Vince. We're gonna go to bed now. Good night. Thank you.
Imagine like Vince was just napping, and this is why this show's just incredible tonight.
Yeah.
They just somehow they caught him on a really, really off day where Vince McMahon actually was sleeping.
That would be great. After this, we have a 6-man tag with Jeff Hardy, Mansoor, and Mustafa Ali versus Jinder Mahal, Veer, and Shanky. And the focus of this, I'm telling you, everything made sense tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Sweet Lou here. Raw was excellent tonight. The focus here, everything had a focus, everything had a purpose, and everything hit. It's like sometimes there's a segment that has focus, but it doesn't hit. Everything hit. This 6-man tag was all about putting Veer over.
Yeah.
Veer. Now, remember a few weeks ago, I was talking about
Still stunned.
how Veer has this legitimately amazing backstory where MLB was trying to search for, a young Indian star to, be part of their part of the system and eventually get up to the major leagues. And they had this competition. And they were going to sign somebody from India. And they actually made a Disney movie out of it called The $1 Million Arm. Veer was the guy that won. Veer was the $1 Million Arm.
I'm still blown away by that. I really am. Because there's no talk of it.
Gresh, I never said that. I never said it was a bad thing. I just said it's an inevitability that Damian Priest will be fed to Roman Reigns. It's not a bad thing. I didn't say that. You're putting words in my mouth. But yeah, he and Corey Graves tongue in cheek tonight after Veer got the win. I mean, Veer was the star of this match. He was turning Ali Mustafa Ali was bumping around for him, and so was Mansoor. Veer hit Mansoor with one of those flying Thez press things and just, absolutely crushed this guy. He crushed him. And then he was just killing Mustafa Ali with like clotheslines, and I forget what the big finish was. I think the big finish was the clothesline. The other one was a shoulder block, but it was just, he's looking good. I gotta say, I don't know what they're gonna do with Veer, and I don't know what the life is on the Veer character, but I'm kind of curious to see some more. Let's see how the 3-week push goes for him. We'll see. But Corey Graves, tongue in cheek, said that, after he hit that lariat, he goes, "Wow, Veer has $1 million arm."
So there's finally some mention of it.
Well, I mean, it was tongue in cheek. It wasn't like, we're going all in on his history here.
No, for sure. But I mean, let's put it this way: if you're not researching into it, that phrase would just blow right over your head,
Right.
But it's incredible.
It was good. And the next segment was a Karrion Kross squash, but this was good too. The promo that he cut before was like a little meh, but Jackson Riker, who, number one, is just he's just an awful professional wrestler. Also winds up, he's not even that great of a person. His 3-week experiment is over. It seems like, like they had him kill the Elias character, and then Elias was like resurrected, but I guess they stopped the Elias resurrection because Finn Balor had to get resurrected at Extreme Rules last night or whatever it is, but I don't get it. But
Whatever
Elias has
happened there.
disappeared. Riker made Elias disappear, and now Riker's push has disappeared. And he just got annihilated by Karrion Kross. And I loved the squash, not because I'm not a big fan of Jackson Riker, because I think he's a terrible professional wrestler. But Karrion Kross was I don't know if he meant to be, but he's hilarious. Like he was hilarious. He had Jackson Riker in the corner, and Jackson Riker's a former Marine. And he goes, "I'm your commanding officer now. I'm your commanding officer now. Come on, Marine." And he like throws him down. I was like laughing my ass off. And he's going, "I'm your commanding officer now." I was like, oh my God, this is like.
I have a strong feeling he wasn't intentionally doing that, but then it wound up working. So I really think he's one of those people that like didn't necessarily mean to be funny, but he wound up being funny.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
going
solid.
over as well as it did.
And
right.
And this is where I made my plea
to
the good Lord Almighty.
Yes.
Because we're about 2 hours in this show. I'm going to read you my tweet. And it was a sincere prayer. And for those who say that prayer doesn't work and that God doesn't listen to you, he listened tonight. Dear Lord, please don't let me jinx my night by saying this next thought. Amen. So far, everything has been good on WWE Raw. Even this Karrion Kross match was fun. And they're not pushing the wooden Jackson Riker. That commanding officer line was great. I said, please, God. And he listened. God is good. God is very good. It was a good show. We're going to continue on now. I'm getting crazy now.
You were always crazy.
This match, I mean, the main event was excellent. But this match is going to be like one of the best matches that had best non-pay-per-view matches for WWE of the year. Riddle versus AJ Styles. Now, we've seen them go in the past, and it's always good. But
this was amazing.
This was like some gear was
top
hit
notch.
Oh my God. Like this was
I think they were
outrageous.
feeling the night. I think the flow, I think the juices were going. I really think everybody was feeling it, including your superstars, because when you have that good momentum and you're feeling the crowd, the energy's there. I think there's that inkling to want to continue that momentum.
Right. You don't want to be the segment that brings the show down.
No.
I have to imagine everybody backstage, even if they're not watching the show the entire time and they're prepping for something else, they know when the show is good.
Yes.
People will tell them this show is good. You don't want to be that segment that brings it down. And this segment, this match did anything but that.
That was
in
top
fact,
notch.
it raised the stakes that much higher.
Even more so.
It was just outrageously good. Outrageously good. It was like just an excellent professional wrestling match. AJ Styles and Omos have been feuding with rated RK Bro, or I'm sorry, it's a rated RK. It's Edge and Orton, RK Bro. Since for the better part of like the summer, going into the fall now. So it really this could have just been another match that's just like a placeholder just to get them to next week when Randy Orton comes back, because Randy Orton's, in his 40s now and gets to pick his spots. Apparently he gets to not have to appear on television whenever he wants, I suppose. And they could have easily just like phoned this in, gave a good effort, but not a great effort. And they didn't even give a great effort. They gave an excellent effort.
Yeah.
This was just anything that you could possibly want on a professional wrestling match on television was given to you in this match.
This match was good because this shows people who are kind of on the fence about, again, continuing to watch WWE in terms of in comparison to AEW. Like this is why.
Right.
For certain aspects of, you have people like AJ Styles and Riddle who are going to perform and who are going to work well together. Sheamus and Damian Priest tonight worked well together.
Mm-hmm.
Great chemistry, good in-ring ability, phenomenal matches. So those are the individuals that are going to keep viewership and going to make you want to come back to watching it. And again, I'm the type where I'm watching both currently, but some people are very much on the fence about like, do I continue watching WWE? It just continues to suck every week,
Yeah.
I'm not finding anything that's really keeping my interest. This is it. These individuals are keeping you to stay, to want to watch, and because they're doing what they should be doing best, and is honing in on the fact that they're wrestling. This is a great match.
Yeah, it really, really was. I just loved everything about it. So there you go. Let me see. I saw something that I had to look it up real quick. King of fucking Mundo said that Riker was married to Charlotte. No, he was not. No, he was not married to Charlotte, as far as I can tell. Wikipedia says so. That's a great point about Riddle and building up. I wanted to highlight this comment here that AJ from Randy Torcola is saying that AJ's whole WWE run has been pretty damn good, and he wasn't much a fan of his TNA days. Yeah, the TNA. Well, I mean, nobody could succeed in that system. That was just a horrible. You can go back and listen to some classic Hunter Golden rants about how bad TNA was. No one was going to succeed. I would say that's a gross understatement that his WWE run has been pretty damn good. I would say his WWE run, he debuted in 2016. So that's he's had a 5-year run, and I think he's I think he's probably got like another year or two left on his contract.
Okay.
And everything he's done, everything, he had a over a year-long run with the WWE title. He came in, one of his first, I think the only bad thing that he did was he came in and feuded with Chris Jericho to start his career, in WWE, which nobody ever really does well, feuding with Chris Jericho as like as like an elevation feud. Like if you just do like a regular feud with Jericho, it's fine. But if Jericho's trying to elevate you, it usually doesn't work out that well. It's like one of those things. It's like so weird. But then he had that I think he started facing John Cena, and he actually he beat John Cena clean, and he did his stuff. He just kept getting better and better, and then he had the WWE title, and he was like running SmackDown. He was the face that runs the place. He had an epic run on that show. He had a great match against Shane McMahon, probably one of the best matches Shane McMahon's ever had at WrestleMania. We were there for that at WrestleMania 33. And pretty much everything he's done has always been good. Even a pointless tag team like AJ, getting Omos, like they randomly got paired up around this time last year, and he's taken Omos and elevated him as much as you can with a guy who can't work. And and he's done comedy, he's done serious, he's done
that's
heel,
what
he's
I was
done
about to say.
face.
That's what I was about to say with him.
But the most important thing that AJ Styles has done is he gave Undertaker closure enough to be able to say, like, this match is probably as good as I'm ever going to get. And he was able to retire off of that. AJ Styles will always have, unless the Undertaker comes, pulls a Terry Funk, comes out of retirement, he'll always have on his resume that he was the Undertaker's last match.
Mm-hmm.
So that right there is WWE Hall of Fame worthy. That's Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame worthy. That's name any Hall of Fame, Wrestleview Hall of Fame. We'll make a Hall of Fame and just put AJ Styles in it. That his run has been incredible. It's probably one of the best WWE runs for the short time that it's been ever.
Yeah, agreed. Honestly, there's nothing else I can add to it because everything you said was just spot on.
Mm-hmm.
He's incredible.
Yes, yeah, thanks. I mean, I'm just coming with the stuff off the top of my head, Rift. So I'm like, I'm trying to just like reconstruct his entire thing. But yeah, we were there actually at Extreme Rules in 2016, which was in Newark, and he had that great match against Roman Reigns there, that Extreme Rules match, and it was really phenomenal. Like that, that I think that really opened up some eyes that this guy is the real deal. It's not like he's not like some overhyped indie guy that we signed and gave a rub to. Like this guy is next level good, and that's when they put him in the feud with John Cena. So
yeah, that was really great. Him with Cena at the time was just
right. And this match tonight against Riddle just proves that he's not slowing down. He hasn't lost a step. He's taking it just as seriously as he did on day one in 2016. I mean, this was just an excellent match. I got to say that finish was nasty. The burning hammer, he spiked him right on his head. I mean, AJ got spiked on his head in this match too. I mean, they were going at each other. Riddle crushed him with a knee to the face. I mean, you could see like the skin vibrating on this slow-mo. It was just everything about this match was great, and everything about AJ Styles is great, and everything about Riddle, except for like the backstage promos that just go forever, was great.
Yes.
Okay. That's Happy Mike.
Oh God.
So we get so this didn't make any this part didn't really make much sense. Earlier, Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville were talking backstage. They had advertised at the beginning of the night 3 title matches, even though they had 4. But I guess they don't consider the 24/7 title a title. But they had advertised earlier in the night that Charlotte Flair was having an open challenge.
Yes.
So Doudrop walks in and asks for the title match with Charlotte Flair. And it's like, it's an open challenge. You don't need to ask for it. You just need to answer the challenge. Like, why are you asking these 2 dorks if you can have the title match? It's an open challenge. If you don't know how an open challenge works, I guess you shouldn't challenge for the title.
That's the idea of an open challenge.
Right.
It's open.
Well, anyway, I was actually really excited to see Charlotte and Doudrop go. And like you were saying, I wasn't thinking this at the time, but now I'm thinking nobody wants their segment to be the bad segment. And for the short little time that they wrestled, it was fine. And then of course they do, stupid, stereotypical, dumb WWE face, which is their trademark, where Eva Marie comes out, even though Eva Marie is, 100 yards away from Doudrop, you have to stare and look at her come out on the stage. Like, who cares? Like if only Doudrop could see how slow Eva Marie is when she tried to escape Shayna Baszler just 5 minutes later, and she looked like my grandmother trying to run away from you at Food Town. Like, she would know that there's no way that Eva Marie is going to make the long dash down the ramp to get her. So you could still continue your match with Charlotte Flair. But instead, she gets distracted and loses with the natural selection. Whatever. The big win of this here is, number one. I didn't like the finish, but Charlotte Flair versus Doudrop has some legs. I thought that looked pretty good
for sure.
The other thing that was great, no Alexa Bliss follow up, no crazy stupid magic. I was expecting, this is the one where I was like, this is where it's gonna fall off.
This is where we're gonna go off the rails.
This is where it's gonna go to hell. And it didn't. The only thing that we saw of Charlotte Flair, of Alexa Bliss, was like a video package showing Charlotte Flair destroying Lily. That's it.
That's good. We didn't need the follow up. It wouldn't have served a purpose tonight. And It did its job last night, what they did. I am curious to see, though, what's going to happen with Dewdrop, though.
She actually feels like a SmackDown character.
More so, right? I'm still trying to like figure her out. I'm still trying to figure out like where she fits into the, into the women's division.
Right.
Like, how are they going to utilize her? I mean, this was good tonight.
Well, yeah.
It was. And again, it's good to have that extra hand, right? For somebody for Charlotte Flair. But I'm just curious. Is Eva Marie always going to be like lingering in the background with it? I don't know. For a while?
I think Eva Marie got written off tonight.
You think so?
I mean, look, okay, so after the match, like this is the second time they did this. We'll get back to the Goldberg thing in a minute, but Eva Marie's in the ring, after the segment's over and we come back from commercial after the Goldberg promo. And it's essentially what Akira Tozawa did, earlier in the show, where he's like, oh, I want to face anybody. And Eva's like, oh, if I had the opportunity that Dewdrop just had, I would be the Raw woman's champion, not the women's champion, the woman's champion. She would just be one singular, the champion for one singular woman, I guess. And she's tired of being taken advantage of. The disrespect from the crowd makes her sick, and she can beat any woman in the locker room, and they all know it. So Shayna Baszler comes out, and she's going to put that theory to the test. And just like she did to Nia Jax last week, she kills Eva Marie with a Kirifuda clutch and then breaks her arm by stomping it on the steps. And I think that's the end of Eva Marie. I don't see how this continues. She's an awful professional wrestler. She's an awful character worker. Like she has no personality. She's a beautiful woman. I won't take that away from her, but that's not enough.
Not anymore.
And honestly, it was barely enough 5 years ago. But if they were doing that thing on SmackDown where she was getting out of having matches and stuff like that, and like that was fun. But that was more like that was some decent writing for her, more than it was like she was doing great.
Yes.
But the wrestling has changed a lot.
Well, it's not enough just to be pretty anymore. It's just not.
And it wasn't even 5 years ago, but you could still kind of get away with it. But it's changed so much in the last 5 years where, people tune into these shows and at the very least, what they want to see is good wrestling.
Yes.
The people that are still tuning in these shows, and Eva Marie will never be able to do that. Not ever, not even a little bit. And it's just not going to cut it. Like this character was not cutting it. I'm sure she's a great person. I'm sure she's a hard worker. It's nothing on hers as a person, but it's like the whole thing, how it's written and her skill level, it's just not going to work out. And I think they wrote her off tonight. And not a moment too soon.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
No, that's good. I hope she's written off. Sorry.
She's like your Jackson Riker.
I mean, not listen, I like the girl, but I think she was entertaining enough on Total Divas, but that's the extent to my
I actually didn't even think she was entertaining on Total Divas. I just liked her dad.
Well, no, I think she was entertaining because I think because obviously certain reality shows, a lot of it is scripted and a lot of it is not real. I actually think the girls really did not respect her as a wrestler. I think that anything to do with them talking about the fact that she doesn't wrestle, that she wasn't good in the ring, that she would ever, I think all that was real. I do. I think that was genuine. Like they're like, this girl is ruining our division.
Yeah.
I think at the time that was very, very much real.
That could very well be. That could very well be. And then finally, it's 10:30 Eastern Standard Time, and the steel cage is lowered around the ring, and I'm like, wow, they're going to give this match some time. And they did. I mean, the match didn't start at 10:30. It still wound up starting at 10:40, but they did some fun stuff where Bobby Lashley attacks Big E as he's getting into the cage. He beats him around ringside, sends him in the cage, just buying some time. actually waiting for somebody to go through the commentary table.
Yeah.
You know, like I was having flashbacks to Stone Cold versus Vince McMahon at St. Valentine's Day Massacre, which was 22 years ago. Oh my God. Wow. I still remember that pay-per-view like it was yesterday. It was 22 years ago, but I was having flashbacks to that cage match where horrible wrestler Vince McMahon, you know, managed to pull out something memorable, and took an incredible, you know, say what you want about crazy old Vince, but you know, he was like in his mid 50s taking huge bumps off of steel cages. It's like wild.
Right.
I think he was 54. Like crazy. Like he could have destroyed. Oh,
he's pretty savage.
he's a weird dude. He's just a weird guy.
He's a very unique person.
Yeah, but I mean, he got all the mileage out of himself that he could. I think the motor's coming. You know,
that's coming to an end. Yes,
here.
For sure.
But whatever. So we finally get in the ring. They have some good back and forth. And the hilarious thing is like, you know, Adam Pearce books this match, a steel cage match, like to keep everybody out. You know, we need to know who's the best, and we need to get all these guys out of here. So we're going to do this in a steel cage. I'm like, bro, have you ever watched a WWE steel cage match?
I don't think he has.
The reason, and it's like the reason why Hell in a Cell was created was so that nobody could get in the steel cage.
Yes.
Like the steel cage was not doing its job, so they put a roof on the damn thing to keep people out. And even that didn't work. The very first night they did Hell in a Cell, they destroyed the gimmick by having Kane come out and tear the door off.
That's
it's
it.
like,
there you go.
But I mean, you know, then they protected it for a long time, and then Bray Wyatt versus Seth Rollins happened, and they killed it dead forever. And the Hell in a Cell is like nothing now, and then they painted the damn thing red and killed it even deader.
Then it was
like,
Ronald McDonald's Playhouse.
Right. I didn't know that it could be deader than dead, but they killed it completely. Anyway, Hurt Business comes out as Big E's trying to climb over. So, oops. And then of course, dumbass Byron Saxton. Like, this guy is such a dick. I'm sorry. Like, he is an idiot. He's a fool. They make him say the stupidest things. Like I don't even know. I just imagine Byron, you know, after they tell him to say all these things that he dutifully regurgitates.
That's a perfect way of describing it, by the way.
You know, on the microphone. I imagine that he just goes back to whatever seedy little hotel room that they booked him, and he just loosens his tie and just has his head down like this, and he can't even make eye contact with himself because he's so disgusted, and he thinks, you know, if I you know, I'm a coward, I'm pathetic, I have no dignity. If I had any type of gumption, I would stand up for myself, but I don't. And my life, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. Like, you know, I work at this place, and there's this old man that has some power over me, and he seems to really like having the power.
This is you can tell Mike's been thinking about this for a while.
And it makes him happy, and I can't even look at myself in the mirror anymore.
I think he walks out with the crowd.
And then he slowly, finally, at long last, just looks up and just catches a glimpse of himself, and he looks back down again. And then he looks again, turns away. And finally, a third time.
Oh my God.
And he goes, "Who are you? What have you become?" And I imagine he cries himself to sleep after that in his suit.
Okay.
Byron Saxton has never watched apparently a steel cage match.
You put it way too much thought into that. By the way.
He's never seen a steel cage match because he goes, "The steel cage is supposed to keep him out." It's like, come on. But like, somebody fed him that line, and he's so like, I mean, he's been around forever now. He's so powerless. He just says it. He just says whatever. I don't think he cares about having dignity or any type of credibility. It's just, you know, it's like, come on, Byron, Jesus. Holy crap.
He definitely does not stand up to himself. Like, he's the type of person, he's walking over.
To be fair, nobody does.
He walks over to the sandwich station. The last sandwich is left, and someone cuts in the line and goes, "Byron, sorry." And he goes, okay. Like he literally
Like-
someone cuts him in line.
Like Byron goes on the buffet line, even though it's like the buffet line, and he drops his dish and then he just picks up the food and just continues on because he's like, oh, they're not going to give me more. They're not going to allow me to have more. So he just continues on. He just does not. He will not advocate for himself.
He will allow
anyway,
anybody.
This led to a really fun spot where Kofi Kingston comes off the cage and hits Benjamin and Alexander with a trust fall off the cage in one of the cool spots of the night. So that was, I guess, despite Byron having no credibility, that was still a fun spot. And then the whole ringside is cleared, and it's just Bobby Lashley and Big E in the ring. And I'm like, Bobby Lashley's going to win, and it's going to be Goldberg beating him, and then it's going to be Reigns versus Goldberg, and I'm going to be sick. And I
I'm
said,
gonna be sick.
and I was literally thinking, like, oh my God, because Goosey said, like, oh, they're going to take the title off him and give it to Goldberg at Saudi. And I was like, oh my God. And then it started making me think about all the different scenarios, and I was getting sick, and I was just waiting. But again, like, these things that I built in my mind made this so much more exciting, going the back and forth, the head in the cage, connecting with a spear kick out, big ending kick out. And then it's like they're brawling on the ropes, and I'm like, wow, Big E's like setting himself up for a big ending. And I was like, oh, how's Lashley going to get out of this? And he does, and he hits the big ending and he gets the pin. And I was like, oh my God, Big E wins. I was actually super excited. I was super excited. So
Good for Big E.
This was a great show. I mean, really a great show. Big E gets the victory over Bobby Lashley once again, and so Bobby Lashley can't say that you beat me with cheating and stuff like that. He beat him straight up.
That's it.
And then a new challenger emerges. I guess maybe they're reversing their plans on Drew McIntyre.
Perhaps
because he comes out either that or they're moving Roman Reigns to Raw and Big E's going to SmackDown.
God, poor Roman. That happens.
I don't think that, and I don't think that's happening. So I guess they're going to reverse plans with Drew McIntyre because he comes out and points the Claymore at Big E. Unless they do that weird thing where it's like, oh, well, the WWE draft isn't going to take effect until November, so we can get all these things out of the way for Crown Jewel.
Okay.
I mean, that's a potential. There's potential there for that. I don't know, but Big E versus Drew McIntyre, that excites me.
That does.
That really, really excites me. So I'm ready for that. And I'm ready to give this show a rating. I'm ready to hear what everybody thinks in the chat room about this show. And I'm ready to show off what Twitter thinks.
The Twitters.
So, Victoria, do tell me, what rating do you give Monday Night Raw tonight?
2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
I mean, really, there was not, except for like what, Eva Marie coming out. What much does there really say it? Like,
well, no, because
bad.
even Eva Marie, like, she got destroyed by Shayna Baszler, so even that served a purpose.
Right.
There was nothing.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm telling you, there was nothing bad.
No,
on the
but
show.
like seeing Eva Marie, like I'm like, like, do you know,
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
But if it means that she's written off,
yeah,
excellent show.
Yeah,
Excellent show.
Really,
Just on
it
that.
really was.
Really.
I felt. Oh, you know what's great too? I thought
I
about
never
this.
talked about the Goldberg thing. The Goldberg promo. But go on,
yeah.
say what you're gonna say first.
Yeah. Fall show, good show.
Yeah.
Like, wow,
Right.
It's the fall.
Right.
And there's a good show.
It's the end of September, and I'm
What?
still happy. This is incredible.
Excuse me.
It's incredible. People in the chat room, tell us what you think about this show, please. So Machine Walls gives it 2 thumbs up. Thumbs up. Hurt Business is back, and Goldberg was on Raw from King of Hueco Mundo. Now the Goldberg thing, he said that he's going to kill Bobby Lashley, which, that's like verbiage. That's like, okay, whatever. You're gonna kill him, sure, okay, whatever. It's not going to happen.
Murder has happened on Raw though, so in WWE.
But there was this. The promo was what it was. It was fine, but the great thing about the promo, probably my favorite part of the whole entire thing, was Goldberg was sitting in this room, and in the background was like a picture of Goldberg's arm with his newborn son draped over his arm. So it was just like he was just like holding his son like he was on a platter like this.
Yes.
And it's like, this is great. What a great room to put him in, and what a great shot to have.
For sure.
Because he's talking about avenging his son, and he has this picture of his newborn son at the time who was newborn behind him, the same baby that he held on his forearm, that was destroyed by Bobby Lashley at SummerSlam. I was like, great placement. Really spot on.
It's simple,
Nothing
but that was simple, and it was totally effective, because you do look at that, and you do look at where, especially strategically, where he's placed, and you're observing, and you're watching, and you're like, wow,
right. So that
brings meaning to what he was saying.
Yeah, it just it just drives home the point even more. It's like it's a better visual.
Yes.
Quentin Walters, no doubt, 2 thumbs up. Crash gives it 2 thumbs up. Randy Torcola, thumbs up. Post-Raw gets 5 thumbs up from Quentin Walters.
Thank you.
Excellent. And I'm gonna just pull up real quick what Twitter also said about this show. If I can do it with any. And I spelled Cincinnati wrong. I added an extra T where it didn't need to be. Anyway, 85, only 85% thumbs up.
I think it will change. I
think it should be higher. I think it should be higher.
Oh, Quentin, good question. I did not watch, and I'll tell you why.
Oh, I thought you watched it.
I was taping it, and then I wasn't really sure when he was going to come on, and then Raw was good, but I will let you know in Wrestleview Media what I thought of it, because I'm going to watch it after this.
There you go. All right, everybody. I hope I'm as happy getting on this show next week as, next week's the WWE draft. So, there'll be big news on next week's show. Make sure you tune in. I'm almost thinking of like doing like a live watch along of like SmackDown while Roy's recapping. I think Roy's back this week. Like the first night of the WWE draft. I don't know. I'm really excited to see what happens.
Play with it, yeah.
And I think it'd be fun to like analyze, the pit, like what's going on, like for both shows.
Yeah, for sure.
And obviously, the draft on Raw. I mean, right. It'd be fun to do 2 watch alongs on that. Maybe I can get somebody to recap Raw next week, like Josh Boutwell. I wouldn't do that to Josh. Josh is recapping the Raw on October 11th, actually.
I wonder why that is.
Because that's Liliana's 2nd birthday, and I am not going to recap Raw on my daughter's birthday.
No.
Because I love her very much. Wow, Liliana's going to be 2. Is that amazing for everybody? I mean, everybody's been here from the announcement.
From the belly.
You knew us before we were parents. We've been doing this show that long. So the only thing that isn't way up tonight is Mike's blood pressure, unlike most weeks, indeed. And I have my physical on Wednesday, so I'm going to check my blood pressure. I'm very curious.
I think it'll be good because
it's going to be great. This came at the perfect time. Now, it's going to trick the doctors into thinking that I'm going to live forever. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to be like Damian Priest, Archer of Infamy. I'm going to live.
Yes, the treatment, Quentin.
Indeed. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us last night as well. This is back-to-back shows for me and Victoria. We're having a lot of fun doing these shows. We love it. We love talking to all you people. So have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week. I'm Mike.
I'm Victoria.
Take care, everybody. Have a good one.
Bye.